Yeah, one day I will have finished all my projects, but this day I think this will never come because I have a lot of ideas I want to do. Now the main parts that we are going to need are this cordless drill, a variable voltage power supply from 3 volt to 12 volt, this pipe connector in 125 millimeters diameter, as well as 2 end caps for it, 4 608 ZZ bearings, 4 washers, 2 M8 locking nuts for the M8 threaded rod, and 4 regular screws. And for the casing we need some plywood and scrap wood. So we start by taking the pipe connector and laying it next to the threaded rod, which is mounted in the chuck of the drill, and then we just add some space like 4 to 5 centimeters and cut the threaded rod. Now that we have cut the threaded rod, the next thing we have to do is to get rid of the battery mount of the drill bit, so we can solder the variable power supply to the cordless drill. Now, 2 things. First, we need 5 ball bearings, and I mounted the 5th one with the 2 lock nuts on the end of the threaded rod. And the second thing, I accidentally cut this yellow wire, so I had to remove the whole gearbox and motor unit, but I realized that this is now much more suitable for what we need. So when you have a cordless drill, just take this gearbox and motor unit out. And of course, be careful not to damage any of the electronics, because we need this control switch to control the speed of the machine. So the next thing we are going to do is we just take the threaded rod with the ball bearing and insert it into the drill chuck and tighten it. So now that we have that, we have to figure out the biggest diameter of the whole unit, which is obviously at this torque set ring, and the calipers say 54 millimeters, which is 27 times 2. So we have to figure out a height in which we mount this whole unit, and let's say 30 millimeter to center height, and then we have enough space below this gearbox. Now that we have that, we have to figure out the size of this whole unit, and therefore I measure it this way, and we have about 40 centimeters. So the base plate of our machine will be 45 centimeters in length, and we need some space for the drum to rotate on top of the axis. So the drum is 15 centimeters outer diameter, so let's make the machine like 25 times 25 centimeters wide. So we need a base plate 25 centimeters times 45 centimeters, and we will make 2 of them. So I just finished cutting the wooden parts for the machine. This board will be the base, and I made another one for the top cover, but here it means a cutout for the drum. So the other parts you can see here are for the perimeter for the box, and my plan is to put these pieces of scrap wood I had laying around in the corners, and then we have 2 long strips for the front and the back side of the machine, and 3 parts for the left side, the right side, and this one will be here and support the bearing. So this one needs a cutout. On the other side I will make supports for the motor, 2 plates for the motor and 1 plate with a hole for this plastic thing. Now that I have the wooden parts, I have to glue them together, and I will do this right now and let them dry overnight so I can finish the machine tomorrow. As you can see, the glue has dried and I already screwed the bottom plate to the frame, and I also made these holders for the motor and the spindle, and we assemble it now. And now we can repair the electronics and put it in here, something like this, and then we can measure the cutout for the top part and assemble the machine. The next thing we have to do is to repair this yellow cable and connect the plus and minus wire to our connector here. Now we can put the yellow heat shrink over it and shrink it with the hot air gun. Remove the isolation. And then we can trim the wires and connect them. I did a quick test off camera and it works pretty good. So we can glue the switch and the transistor in place. And I will glue the transistor in here like this, so it gets cooled by the airstream of the motor's internal fan. And the switch will be next to it. I prepared the top cover for the machine and I measured the location of the switch, and in my case this is 4 centimeters from this side and about 6 centimeters from this side. So I transferred this location to here and we will drill a 7mm hole so we can screw this M8 screw into here, and we will make a nice adjusting wheel. So now we will measure which dimension the cutout needs to be, and I just eyeballed it, putting the drum in the middle of the threaded rod, and I came to my dimensions, which are 5 centimeters from this side to the start of the cutout and 24 centimeters from this side to the end of the cutout. So we have equal space to each side of the drum. And on this direction I measured 6 centimeters, but if that is not enough, we can always make the hole bigger. I just managed to cut myself on the saw twice, and while it was off. so I guess it's not my day. Yep, it isn't. I just made 2 pieces of scrap metal, scrap wood, which hold the bearings and will then be glued to the sides of the machine, so the drum or barrel is always held in the middle. So therefore we need our 6 or 8 bearings and these screws. Then we just put 1 washer on it. And I already pre-drilled the holes in the corners so the wood won't splinter. Hopefully. And this is how it should look like. Okay. And these will go in here. I'll make another one for the other side. So let's test the machine and see if it works. And it works. I like this feature to adjust the speed very much. Depending on the grinding compound and the materials that you want to grind, you need to vary the speed and you get different kinds of aggressiveness of the grind or of the polishing of the materials. So you have to try it out and check what works best for you. Or I have to check it out and try different materials. So if you like my videos, please hit the subscribe button, like and share. And if you do have any questions or want to see different contests, please post it in the comments. So thanks for watching.